Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video we're going through the Geelong vs Adelaide game in which Jeremy Cameron and Tom Stewart went off, as well as Riley O'Brien and to a certain extent Jordan Dawson and Rory Laird. Another game in which I didn't really watch too much of, but Geelong just got over the line, 13 goals 12.90 to 13 goals 7.85 for Adelaide. So let's just jump into this game here. So as you can see down here, Jeremy Cameron with a 120, he ended up with 6 goals. And I just want to check here the actual rundown of this game. So it looks like Adelaide had the lead at 3/4 time, and then Geelong in the last quarter kicked 3 goals 4 to 2 goals 2. So they ended up 8 more points than Adelaide to overturn a 3-point 3/4 time margin. Jeremy Cameron 38, 36, 31, 15. He was pretty good, and if he got the last quarter well, he would have ended up with massive score. Tom Stewart, a 107, a little bit of a low game for him in this one against Adelaide. 30, 22, 33, 22. Didn't really have that big 40-point quarter that we've sort of known that he's able to have. So will be interesting to see in the upcoming games what happens there. But yeah, just a huge game from him. And to have 28, 5 and 5 is a really, really good game. And that's pretty much what he does. He gets huge. He guarantees himself pretty good non-disposal numbers. And 35 points from non-disposal numbers is always, as a minimum, going to get you pretty far. Tanner Bruin, 102. I said that I didn't think he was doing that well this year, and he's come out and scored his highest score of the year, his second ton. Basically just on the back of a huge third quarter. He ended up with 23 touches, 2 marks, 6 tackles, and 6 free kicks and a goal. So a lot of non-disposal points there. That's 12, 36, 40 non-disposal points out of a 102 is a pretty high bar and huge tackle amount. Atkins here with a 91, 21, 28, 13, 29, not fancy relevant. Dangle, no. Stanley, no. Dangerfield, no. Manor with a 17 touch, 3 tackle, 2 goal effort to get himself a 72. A guy that I'm just intrigued to hold. I just need to look at the Geelong fixture running quickly here. 1 second. Let me just run it up here. As I don't want to show I don't want to flick across to the fantasy app because I don't want to spoil both the video for Wednesday and then also my trades that I currently have loaded up at the moment. But the run for the Cats is Fremantle, St Kilda and West Coast. And I believe if we just go to DFS here quickly, then we just go to season-long matchups. This is another one that I like to use. I would say he's more of a general forward. Then we go to here, and you see that Geelong have a -2. So you may want to hold him for this one. I don't need him on field this week, but also I just want to check with, we'll do this here. Then I want to go to CBAs, and I just want to check Geelong, because I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting a CBA or 2. No CBAs there, okay, that's fine. What happened with Tom Stewart as well? I just want to check that his role continued. It fell down a little bit, but maybe they were using him more key back. Did anyone return that caused that? Tom Atkins returned, and they didn't really have an out in the midfield. So that's probably why he had a little bit less midfield time. Sam De Koning's gone back to the ruck, out of the ruck role, so that's why you never go for a change like that as the ruckman in the likes of Reece Stanley was back, and also, where is it? Bulikovs, I'm guessing, he did a little bit of ruck work there as well. So, that's why you don't do that, as well as they've had Shannon Neal in the side who can do a little bit of a ruck role. There we go. So that's why Sam De Koning dropped. But I'm a little bit surprised about Manor. Let's actually just check where is he? Here he is. Let's just check with him what's going on there. 1 second here. He seems to, so apparently got injured in that game, didn't really see it. And then played a little bit more forward in that game, and then played a little bit more, it seems like, okay, so maybe on the wing a little bit. I don't know exactly, but that does look promising enough to at least hold him because he does have the ability to peak score. So, and I do like this this heat map here that's showing that in these earlier games he was a lot more forward. I know that is a low time on ground, but this 69% time on ground for a really high percentage. And then the scores seem to correlate with him having these really high red equals low score seems to be the correlation here. Through that, as you can see, his two highest scores came with his three highest scores came with his three lowest forward time, inside 50 time. So I think he's still a good hold, as I think he does have that peak ability, and I still think his floor is a pretty good one if you do have really rough matchups, like a potential Dylan Moore matchup against I forgot who he has this week, but guys like that you're like, the roll isn't 100%, but they could drop a stinker or not. So yeah, that's what I think about that. So I'm still happy to hold. Humphreys with a 71, 19, 12, 11, 29. He is a guy that can have games like this in the sense of just fading out of quarters very, very easily. But I'm not too worried about him. And he's a guy that I'm just going to be using in the back line if he does have a really early game and then has a really good score. Then I'll use him, etc. As I have loops going through there. I kind of hope that Henson Jr. gets dropped in the next week or two, just because I need him for emergency looping in the forward line. But anyway, enough of that. Holmes with a 71. I'm glad that I went Stewart over Holmes, just because Holmes has really fallen away recently. I think I was thinking about it when they did they both go 114, I think, or something. Or maybe Holmes had gone 114 and then it's been 83, 94, 71 in the time that I've owned Tom Stewart. So I think that has just been a massive gain for me. Henry, Blickovs, Neal, Guthrie, Tui, Dempsey, Myers. Myers has been a one that's fallen off a little bit. Then I'll quickly go over to the likes of, and with Bose, like everyone's like, oh look, Bose put up a 1, 2, 3, 82, 106, 75, 100, then he's sub. Adelaide here, Riley O'Brien 118, huge first and third quarter, but then 18s in the other two quarters. It is what it is, job done. Dawson with a 104, pretty big second and third quarter, 71 between them in those two quarters. Job done for him, basically. Rory Laird, similar, 29, 6 and 5. What was Dawson? 27, 6 and 5. And then, Dawson, okay. Didn't get a free kick, whereas Laird did. Rochelle, 3 goals, 2, 14 touches, 7 marks, 5 tackles. This is the dangerous thing about Rochelle. I don't know exactly. Let's go to CBAs. I want to see just the split here for Adelaide. What did they do with this CBA split? Rochelle here, no CBAs. 20% for Thilthorpe as the backup ruck. 10% for Curtin, which, let's see, how did he go? He came on as sub in the last little bit, so that's interesting. 77% for Sam Berry. Rankin back next week. How is that going to throw a spanner in the works? Then you had 0% for Rory Laird. Completely chucked out of the midfield mix. That's an interesting watch. Given that they're playing him off, I would expect half back then. I didn't watch this game, but I'm just going off the numbers here, and it just looks awfully like he was playing off half back. Let's just check here. Yeah, I would say that that's off. It probably is one where he's either off half back or the wing and then just floating in. Let's just see. Yeah, no, that's definitely off half back. Because that is a total different, you can see it just shifts back about 40, 50 meters. And that probably correlates more to this type of game where, that was his half-back game. And if I just go back here, that was his game that he played on the weekend. Let's just flick between both of them. You can sort of see a correlation between those two. So he's playing off half-back now, which is probably not even news to a lot of you guys that were watching on the weekend. Rochelle, I think he just had a really good end to the game here. 3 goals, 2 for him. I still think there's some hope for him as a midfielder. I just think he needs to get chucked in there at points. Ben Keys, this 100 score comes after the 61. Let's just get rid of that one. Play a search, no. Let's just see. So Ben Keys, he hasn't been used, I don't think, as a midfielder at all, basically. Yeah, so he's 2% for the season and only really had 2 games where he's actually used. So I still don't think Ben Keays is an option. I don't know who they have in their run home, Adelaide, but I just don't think that Keays is going to be someone that lights it up. So where is not St Kilda, where's Adelaide up here? They've got Bulldogs, who are a form team, Port a form team, and then Swans in the last round. He could go off against the Swans just with the way the Swans are playing at the moment. They're playing horrifically, don't get me started. But yeah, I just don't think he's going to be an option. Then we can basically just fly through the rest of these shoals. Feels like Crouch, Shaligo, Murray, Hinge, Berry, McElhaney, Worrell, Taylor, Nankervis, Keane, Murphy, Walkoff, Dowling with a 46. I'm glad I got off him. I think it was last week. I may have cost myself 10, 20k, but I was able to get off of Dowling a couple of weeks ago, I believe, and it hasn't really killed me too much. Fogarty, Bond, and Curtin with a 2. So Curtin is going to be definitely an interesting one next year, given that Curtin is averaging something like, he's going to be surely, let's just check here, down to the bottom for Curtin. Curtin is now averaging 16.5 fantasy points on the year, so he is below that threshold now for minimum. And if he is a min player, it's going to be an interesting watch, as he will, I don't know whether he'll have defender status or not, but yeah, he's played 4 games, etc. and 16.5, even if he starts to get up towards that like 23, 24 average, then he still might get under the sort of min price. I think min was about 22. So say he played the remaining 3 games, would put him at 7 games. So 22 divided by 0.91 is he'd have to hold his average below 24.1 if he was to stay min price, I believe, give or take a few sort of point decimal places there. But that pretty much is the video. I think Dan Curtin is the interesting one for next year. I think Roy Laird could be an interesting one for the rest of this year. And then Tom Stewart is probably the only one from Geelong, unless you were going to go Jeremy Cameron. But I just think the inconsistency with Jeremy Cameron is one that I'd stay away from. But then again, who do they have again for their run home? They've got Fremantle, St Kilda, and West Coast. He could absolutely kill West Coast and put up a massive score. And then you turn out and you're looking at him with a huge score on his back, as he has killed both North and North both times they played, as well as putting up any big scores against like Richmond or anything, or didn't really score against Richmond, but anyway, that's sort of what, and he did score 91 against the St Kilda. So that'll be an interesting watch with the key forwards, as we usually have that sort of debate at the back end of years, with F6 becoming a sort of crucial position where you can gain almost, if you get a good run in. I know that Tex Walker had this last year, I believe, where the last 2 rounds, I think he went 6 goal or something like that, and he gained people who went for him at F6 role something like 120 points, 140 points across 2 game weeks. So I think that's sort of why F6 becomes such a really contentious role with about 3 weeks to go, is trying to find that matchup, because I think it is one of the roles that can really, really pocket you a lot of points on the general competition, because generally there's a key forward that goes off in those weeks. So anyway, that's the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.